Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining another Ready to Ride Pilates for Horse Riders session. We are going to be tackling that wonderful topic of multitasking today. This is going to be a hard level session, so please make sure that you are warmed up before you start. We're going to go straight in with the good old walking exercise. We're going to do it from the wide position, so feet out wide to get you started. Think shoulder blades back and down, activate your pelvic floor and activate those gentle ropes or springs running from ribs to pelvis. Then off you go with your diagonal pairs. Watching in this position that you don't end up turning into a windmill, so keeping your body really nice and still. You're still thinking shoulder blades back and down, ropes or springs active, pelvic floor onto floor 3, and make sure you're breathing. It's a lovely simple exercise mechanically, it's just that challenge for your brain, but it's also good for getting the circulation going around your body. Okay, we're now going to go into your roll down, so to the end of your mat. Feet together, knees nice and soft, hands on the front of your thighs, chin onto your chest, and slide your hands down, curling up as tight as you can through your spine all the way down. Pausing at the bottom for a breath in. Breathe out, slide your hands back up, tuck down with your bottom, and uncurl to the top of your neck. I seem to have a tree in my head. And again, chin into your chest, slide your hands down, and this time try to focus on moving every single vertebrae one at a time until you get to the base of your spine. Another breath in. Breathe out, and this time bend your knees down onto your mat, and we're starting off on your side but propped up onto your forearm, legs into your capital L position, top arm resting onto your top side. We're going to do your side bend. We're going straight in at a pretty high level though. Pelvic floor onto floor 3, float your top leg, and then we're going to lift and lower, so you're lifting your pelvis as your top arm lifts over your head, so we're looking for that nice synchronization. But we're now going to add in your leg as well. So as you move your arm, you also move the leg. So we are now moving your pelvis, your top arm and your top leg, and you're looking for nice synchronization with all of those 3 movements. Still keeping your pelvic floor onto floor 3 and making sure you're breathing. There are 2 reasons why you end up holding your breath. One is that you are physically bracing, and that's not great because it means you're trying to cheat and use your diaphragm, and the other is that you're mentally bracing, and that's not great either, particularly if you're in the middle of a dressage test or trying to go around the show jumping arena, because that's when you forget where you're going. Okay, one more. Super job. Then bring your leg down. We're going to go onto your front next, and we're going to do an exercise called the one leg kick. Now, if your back doesn't like being in this position, please do this on your flat down on your front, because some people's backs just don't like being in this position. Absolutely fine though if you are comfortable here. So we're going to start off thinking of your setup, pelvic floor onto floor 3, and you want to be aware of your headlights, those knobbly bony bits at the front of your pelvis. Make sure they are in equal contact with the floor. Then you're going to bend one knee to 90 degrees and pulse 1, 2, 3 times, then straighten. Then the other knee and pulse 1, 2, 3 times and straighten. Now we're going to add in your foot. So you're going to do heel, toe, heel, or toe, heel, toe. So heel, toe, heel, or toe, heel, toe. I suggest, and I struggle to talk as I do this one, that you do heel, toe, heel with both legs, and then toe, heel, toe with both legs. This is a great exercise, I'll try and talk as I do it, for really improving the firing of your hamstrings and speeding up your reaction times when it comes to your feet, which is quite useful when you're thinking about leg aids. But I also want you to think about the quality of what you are doing and making sure that you don't lose the control of your headlight as you do your pulses. So make sure that you don't pulse so hard that the front of your thigh comes away from your mat. So keep your pulses nice and gentle. One more. Super job. Okay, we're going to turn onto the side that you haven't already been on. So I'm going to spin round to the other end of the mat, and we're going to go straight back in to your side bend exercise. Once again in your capital L, so shoulders, hips to knees, top arm resting onto your top side, pelvic floor onto floor 3. Float your top leg, and we're going into that simultaneous lift of the pelvis and the top arm. For your first few, keep your top leg absolutely still. And then we'll add in the top leg as well. So you're now moving 3 body parts. We're moving pelvis, top arm and top leg. Still keeping the pelvic floor onto floor 3 if possible. And also remembering to breathe. So important. So keep being strict with yourself. Be synchronized. Pelvis, arm and leg all together. Okay, we can do one more. Lovely job. Okay, bring the leg back down. We're now going onto your back. If you want to use a headrest for the first couple, that's absolutely fine. If you want to give yourself a really big challenge, you can do these next couple with a spiky ball. I'm not going to, partly because I'm looking to the side, but also because I'm on a lumpy garden. But if you want to really challenge yourself with a spiky ball, pelvic floor onto floor 3, and then bring your legs up into your tabletop position. Check once you are there, you've got that nice neutral tummy position, pelvic floor still onto floor 3, and we are going to combine your scissors with your hip twist. So one foot into scissors, as the other foot into, or leg into hip twist, and then the other way. So we're alternating which way each leg is going, still keeping pelvic floor onto floor 3, and keeping breathing, keeping that nice neutral tummy position. Keeping breathing and concentrating on what the legs are doing. One more each way. Okay, then we're going to bring feet down. If you need to have a little bit of a breather at any time, that's absolutely fine. You don't need to keep doing all the same number of reps that I am doing. It's not a problem at all. Don't keep pushing yourself if you don't want to. The next exercise we're going to do is combining your hip twist with your arms. So once again, up into tabletop, pelvic floor onto floor 3, neutral tummy, and you're taking your hands up. Okay, and this time you're going to go into hip twist as you take one arm out, come back up, and the same thing the opposite way. I know some people find this really hard to compute with the brain. Once again there, you're looking for that nice synchronization. So arm and leg are moving together. Remember, this is still a wine glass exercise, so the leg that isn't moving wants to stay absolutely still. Because your arms are involved, obviously you can't check with your hand, or hands rather, to see whether your headlights are staying nice and still. So try and really focus on what you can feel. We'll do one more each way. Keep that pelvic floor, keep breathing. Okay, super job. One time, feet down, and then bring your hands up. Okay, have a little breather while we set up for the next one. We're going to move on to your shoulder bridge. So if you have been using a headrest, slide that away for this one. Check that your feet and knees are back to being hip width apart, and we'll start off a couple of nice straightforward ones just to get your body into the movement. So pelvic floor onto floor 3, then roll back into your imprint and peel out one vertebra at a time until you get to the top. Check you've got that straightest line from shoulders, hips to knees, and make sure you can breathe before you come back down. Head for your imprint position and finish your movement. Check where your knees are, and once again, pelvic floor, roll back into imprint, each vertebrae in turn to the top. When you're flat at the top, nice breath in, and breathe out, coming back down again, each vertebrae one at a time. Okay, we're going to make it a little bit harder now. Hands up, pointing straight up above you. Now your challenge now is to keep your hands above your shoulders. If you want to have something there to hold, or a resistance band, that's good visual feedback. Otherwise, just make yourself work hard and keep your hands still, as once again, pelvic floor, roll up. But this time, once you've made sure you can still breathe, keeping your headlights level, you're going to straighten each leg in turn. And I made a bit of a mistake there. My feet weren't quite close enough to my bottom, and I was starting to lose balance, particularly on a slightly wobbly garden. Try to keep your headlights as level as you can. It is not easy, but also don't forget about your hands. Try to keep them as still as you can. Keep that pelvic floor onto floor 3, and don't forget, keep breathing. You guessed it, keep breathing. One more with each leg. Okay, then we're going to come back down for a breather. So head for that imprint, roll back down to neutral. Bring your hands down, make sure they've still got some circulation. We've got one last challenge. Okay, so once again, start with your hands up at the top. Check your knees are still hip width apart. Pelvic floor onto floor 3. Roll back. And as you go back, take your hands over your head. Then again, have a go with your leg extensions. Then come back down. Bring your hands up at the same time as your bridge comes down. So again, roll back, lift the bridge as you take your hands over your head. Pause at the top, straighten each leg in turn, keeping this headlights as still as you can. Roll back down as your hands come to the top. Are your hands level all the way through? Be really strict with yourself. It's no different to having that lovely independent seat, so your legs can do one thing whilst your contact stays totally equal down to the horse's mouth. This is a brilliant exercise for checking that you can do that. It's definitely made harder doing it on a sloping garden, I can assure you that. So if you find this easy, your next challenge is to do this on a sloping garden. One last one. Okay, then bring your arms back down. Okay, super job. We're going to come back up into standing now. Got one last challenge for you to do in standing, and then we'll finish off. We're going to do the warrior exercise. I love this exercise because there's so much movement if you want to build it in. So we're going to start off standing on one leg, and your hands want to be in your wheelbarrow pushing position. Shoulder blades back and down, headlights to the front, pelvic floor onto floor 3, and you're going forwards and back, forwards and back, and you go within the range that you can control. So if you find this a little bit tricky, just go within this range. That's absolutely fine. So you go forwards and back within the range that you've got. Try to get, once again, keep your hands level. I've threatened my regular classes of Pilates that they're going to do this with a tray of drinks in their hands. Can they keep their hands still and level the whole way through? If you are jumping, this exercise is an absolute must. You also need to keep your balance as you go through the movement. Whoops, one more. Okay, then we're going to swap and do exactly the same thing on your other leg. So get your balance before you start. Shoulders back and down, headlights forwards, pelvic floor onto floor 3. And then you're going forwards and back, forwards and back, keeping your hands as level and still as you can. Remember, once again, you go within the range that you have got available, that you are comfortable with, and that you can control. And if you have one side that's better than the other, don't worry, you just work until they are both the same. A couple more. She says, falling over. Super job. Okay, come back down, have a little walk on the spot, because your legs have worked quite hard in a very confined range of movement. So walking out is just quite a nice way of stopping everything feeling really, really tight. Okay, then we're going to do a nice little stretching exercise called the chest stretch, and you bring your hands up above your head and open them out into a V, and this time you can forget about the ropes down your front because you're taking your hands behind you and stretching, provided you don't have back pain in this position. And then bring your hands back up, keep that V, and again take your hands out behind, stretch on the front of your chest, and bring your hands up, staying in that V once more. We're going to do one last stretch. Take your arms behind you, feel the stretch down your front, and then we'll bring your arms back down. You're going to shake, make sure they've got a little bit of circulation, having been up in the air for quite so long. Okay, so we have finished that session for today. Hopefully you found some of those quite challenging, if not for your body, for your brain, which is really what you need to be working on if you want to have those aids absolutely down to a T and not find yourself collapsing in the middle or freezing in your brain when you try and do 4 different things all at once and keep your independent seat and light contact. Best of luck everybody, particularly if you're out competing, and thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next session. Bye bye.